Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Did you know that if you are born in 1584, you are likely to die in battle? The year is 1584 and Japan is still recovering from centuries of warfare. For decades, the country has been ravaged by battles between rival samurai clans. And now the once great cities lie in ruins, the economy is shattered and the people are starving. In the midst of this chaos, a baby boy is born to a family of lowly farmers in the village of Sefu. His name is Shinmen Takezō. But history will know him as Miyamoto Musashi, one of the greatest swordsmen who ever lived. Your earliest years are not filled with peace? Your father, Musashi, is a martial artist of some repute, skilled in swordsmanship and the use of the jit, a kind of staff weapon. From him, you inherit both your talent for combat and your temper, yet you are not raised by him for long. Some stories say your mother dies early and you grow up under the care of relatives and monks, learning fragments of Buddhist teachings alongside lessons in survival. As a boy, you are not the polite, disciplined child that people like. Instead, you are unruly, wild, and strong for your age. People say you have a fiery temper and perhaps, deep down, you already carry the restless spirit that will make you a wanderer. Childhood for you is not filled with games, but with practice. The rough world outside demands strength, and you would find yourself holding a wooden sword long before most children have mastered their handwriting. By age 13, you challenged your first opponent to a duel. A grown man named Arima Kihei, a samurai of the Shinto Ryo school. By the standards of the time, you should have lost. He is trained, armed, and experienced. You are only a boy. Yet you fight with ferocity and kill him. That moment marks the beginning of your long and bloody path. The villagers who hear of it whisper your name, both in awe and fear. They do not know whether to call you gifted or cursed. But one thing is certain, you will never again live an ordinary life. From this point onward, every step will lead you deeper into the world of warriors, duels, and survival. The childhood of Miyamoto Musashi ends not in the slow passing of years, but with the clash of steel and the silence of a fallen opponent. Now the road of the samurai stretches before you, long and fraught with peril. Every step you take will be a test of your skill, courage, and honor. Battles against rival clans are still raging across the land, and the war-torn countryside offers little respite. Travel is dangerous, and bandits and thieves prowl the roads, preying on lone travelers. Your journey will take you through dense forests and across barren plains, over high mountain passes and through deep valleys. Each region has its own dangers and challenges. The forests are filled with wild animals and hostile natives. The plains can be a harsh mistress, offering little shade from the sun and few sources of water. The mountains are treacherous and the valleys often flooded. Along the way, you will encounter many different kinds of people. Some will be helpful and hospitable, while others will be indifferent or even hostile. You will need to be prepared for anything. As you travel, you will hone your skills as a swordsman and martial artist, testing yourself against any challengers who cross your path. You will also learn the ways of the samurai, including the arts of strategy, tactics, and diplomacy. But it is on the battlefield where you will truly be tested. For a samurai, there is no greater honor than to die in battle, but there is also no greater shame than to be defeated in battle. With each battle you fight, your reputation as a warrior will grow. And soon your name will be whispered in awe by your enemies as well as your friends. But the more famous you become, the more dangerous your life will be. There will always be someone eager to test their skills against the legendary Miyamoto Musashi. And so you will be forced to wander from place to place, never staying in one spot for too long. Always looking over your shoulder, always ready to fight. Yet despite the dangers and hardships you face, you will never regret the path you have chosen. For what is a samurai without his honor, his courage, and his sword? What is life without challenge, struggle, and the chance to become a legend? So go forth, young samurai, and carve your name in the annals of history. Let your deeds be sung by bards for generations to come. Let the whole world tremble at the name of Miyamoto Musashi, the great swordsman of Japan. What will your next move be? Please leave a comment below and let us know. See you next time. After your first duel, life could never again return to the quiet pace of childhood. You had proven yourself capable of killing, and in the turbulent world of late 16th century Japan, that meant opportunity and danger in equal measure. The land was still recovering from the chaos of the Sengoku period, when countless warlords fought for power. Though unification was slowly being achieved under great leaders like Toyotomi Hideyoshi and Tokugawa Ieyasu, violence still lived in every corner of society. For a young ronin, a masterless samurai like you, the roads were both training ground and battlefield. You wandered from place to place, not for wealth nor for fame at first, but for the sharpening of your skill. Every challenge, every duel was another chance to measure yourself. You were not yet the composed, wise Musashi of later years. You were rough, wild, and often careless in your manners. Some thought of you as little more than a savage with a sword. But when steel met steel, your strength spoke for you. At times you traveled alone, carrying nothing but your sword and a restless hunger for combat. At other times you found yourself swept into larger conflicts. You fought in the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600, the great clash that determined the fate of Japan. The Tokugawa would rise victorious, establishing a shogunate that would rule for centuries. You, however, found yourself on the losing side. Whether by luck or by your own skill, you survived the slaughter and escaped with your life. This, too, became a lesson. Victory and defeat were not always determined by loyalty or righteousness, but by strategy, timing, and adaptability. In these early years, you began to understand that combat was not simply about swinging a sword with strength. It was about the mind. And the mind, you realized, must always remain calm like water, even in the midst of chaos. And so you walked onward. Each town, each village, each rival school of swordsmanship became another page in your journey. You were no longer just the boy who had killed a man at 13. You were becoming something far greater and far more dangerous. One evening, as the sun bled into the horizon, you found yourself sitting across from a weathered old swordsman. His name was Sogo, and he was one of the last surviving members of the Itoyu style, a master of the single sword. You had sought him out, drawn to the reclusive swordsman like a moth to a flame. You were eager to test your skills against his, to see where you stood in the grander scheme of swordplay. But as the weeks turned into months, you learned that Sogo had more to teach you than just the ways of the sword. He was a living testament to the power of discipline and focus, and you were a sponge, soaking up his wisdom. Under his guidance, you honed your skills, learning the subtle art of balance and timing. Sogo taught you to find harmony in the discord of battle, to use your opponent's strength against them, and to strike with the precision of a master craftsman. One day, as you were practicing your katate, Sogo stopped you mid-swing. "There's something you are missing," he said, his voice raspy with age. "You fight with the heart of a lion, but the mind of a rabbit." Confused, you looked at him, wondering what he meant. "A lion fights with the ferocity of a storm, but always with a clear intention," he continued, his gaze intense. "The rabbit runs from danger, always fearful, always uncertain of its next move." You thought back to your duels, to the times when you had hesitated, when you had been afraid, and you realized that Sogo was right. If you were to truly master the sword, you needed to conquer not just your opponents, but your own mind as well. From that day forward, you worked even harder, pushing yourself to the limit, learning to control your breathing, to calm your mind, to become one with the sword. As the seasons passed, you grew in skill and wisdom, becoming a formidable swordsman, feared and respected throughout the land. The old swordsman, Sogo, watched you with pride, knowing that you had taken his teachings to heart and made them your own. Miyamoto Musashi, legendary swordsman, duelist, and rōnin. Your name echoes through the ages, not just as a great warrior, but as a philosopher of the sword. The road led you to countless duels, each one testing not only your skill, but your patience, your endurance, and your philosophy. Among these duels, some would stand out as turning points in your life. One of the earliest famous encounters was with the Yoshioka family. They were a powerful and respected school of swordsmanship in Kyoto. The Yoshioka were masters of the martial arts, and to defeat them was to claim both prestige and infamy. You challenged them boldly, defeating their leaders one by one. The rivalry quickly escalated. Dozens would attack you at once, but you survived them all, cutting your way through with ferocity and cunning. From these duels, you gained more than just victories. You began to see the flaws in others. Many relied too much on tradition, on rigid stances, on repeating the teachings of their masters without question. You, on the other hand, adapted. You improvised. You used not only the sword, but also your environment, your timing, and your opponent's weakness. For you, combat was not ritual, it was life and death. But perhaps the most legendary of your duels came in 1612 when you faced Sasaki Kojirō, known as the Demon of the Western Provinces. Kojiro was a master swordsman, famed for his technique with a long blade called the nodachi. He was graceful, skilled, and feared. The duel took place on Ganri Island, and it has been retold countless times in history and legend. You arrived late, deliberately, frustrating your opponent. You carved a wooden sword from an oar during the journey to the island. When the duel began, Kojiro swung his massive blade, but you closed the distance swiftly and struck him down with your wooden weapon. In that single moment, you not only defeated a famed warrior, but also demonstrated that skill, timing, and strategy outweighed elegance or reputation. The duel with Kojiro became one of the great stories of your life, but for you, it was not the end. It was another step, another test, another layer of understanding. You continued to seek challenges, each one sharpening your skills, each one bringing you closer to the heart of your philosophy. You wrote about it later. When I came to the end of my studies, I still had no thought of the number of swords I could conquer. For me, the important thing was the study itself. Your duels weren't just about winning or losing. They were about pushing yourself to the edge, about understanding the very essence of sword combat. In your hands, the sword became an extension of your will, a dance of life and death, a testament to your unyielding spirit. With each clash of steel, you wove a tapestry of victories and defeats, of triumphs and tragedies, of lessons learned and battles fought. You faced down armies, single-handedly defending your lord's honor, your own code of Bushido. Your name became a whisper in the wind, a legend carried on the breath of the ages. Miyamoto Musashi, the man who walked the path of the warrior. Your journey began with a simple desire to test your strength. But what began as a personal challenge soon became a way of life. You wandered the land, seeking duels, honing your skills, engaging in countless battles, not for wealth, not for fame, but for the sake of the sword itself. Each encounter was a new lesson, a new understanding of the art of war, a new layer in the onion of human nature. You learned the value of discipline, the importance of strategy, the need for constant self-improvement, and as you grew in skill, so did your wisdom. You realized that the true test of a warrior is not just physical prowess, but mental fortitude, the ability to remain calm in the face of danger, to think clearly when all others are lost to fear. You developed a training regimen that would become legendary, a path to mastery that demanded not just dedication but utter devotion. Your methods were grueling, designed to push the body and mind to their limits, but they were also highly effective. You taught that one must train not just with the sword, but also in the mind, that one must be prepared for any situation, that one must never stop learning. You assembled a group of students, each one drawn to your unique approach, each one eager to learn the secrets of the sword. Among them were some of the most skilled warriors of the time, and they, too, became legendary. You shared your knowledge freely, but you demanded total commitment in return. Your students knew that there was no greater honor, but also no greater burden. Under your guidance, they flourished, becoming masters in their own right. You had found your purpose now, not just as a duelist, but as a teacher, a transmitter of a way of life. You continued to seek challenges, each one sharpening your skills, each one bringing you closer to the heart of your philosophy. You wrote about it later. When I came to the end of my studies, I still had no thought of the number of swords I could conquer. For me, the important thing was the study itself. Your duels weren't just about winning or losing. They were about pushing yourself to the edge, about understanding the very essence of sword combat. In your hands, the sword became an extension of your will, a dance of life and death, a testament to your unyielding spirit. With each clash of steel, you wove a tapestry of victories and defeats, of triumphs and tragedies, of lessons learned and battles fought. You faced down armies, single-handedly defending your lord's honor, your own code of Bushido. Your name became a whisper in the wind, a legend carried on the breath of the ages, Miyamoto Musashi, the man who walked the path of the warrior. The years rolled by like a river's ceaseless flow, carrying your spirit far from the shores of youthful passion. The wild young man who once danced with life, eager for every scrap of honor and challenge, gradually stilled into a sage of combat. You are older now, your face etched with the passage of time, your steps slower, yet your eyes burn with an inner fire. You still wear your swords, still accept duels, and when the clash of steel echoes in the morning mist, you move with the same fierce grace that made you famous. But your greatest battles are no longer fought with the body, but with the mind. For as you grew older, your spirit wandered farther, journeying not only across battlefields, but through temples, humble villages, and remote mountain monasteries. Along the way, you studied under patient monks, toiled alongside simple peasants, and shared laughter and sake with traveling artisans. From the stoic monks, you learned patience and inner strength. From the peasants, you learned the value of simplicity and humility. And from the artisans, you learned the beauty of form and function. Your mind, like a sculptor, chiseled away at the rough edges of your being, revealing the exquisite contours of a balanced life. In the quiet moments, you stood by a still pond, watching the play of light and shadow, and you realized that the true essence of swordsmanship lay not only in the dance of the blade, but in the harmony of opposites, the interplay of light and dark, stillness and movement, and most importantly, the unity of mind and body, thought and action. You developed a style of swordplay that you called Night Ichi, the school of two heavens as one. While other warriors clung to one long sword or one short sword, you became renowned for wielding both at once, each move as fluid and effortless as the last. Your style was poetry in motion, a testament to the boundless potential that resides in every living being. Yet your wandering also revealed the darker truths of existence. You witnessed firsthand the ravages of famine and poverty and the endless struggles of common folk who had no swords to defend themselves against life's harsh realities. Such penderiton shook you from your idealistic reveries, reminding you of the suffering that pervades our fragile world. These experiences, like brushstrokes on a painter's canvas, blended into a broader work of art, enriching your understanding of humanity and its myriad forms. No longer satisfied with the limitations of your earlier self, you took up new tools of expression, a pen, ink, and finally a brush. In these seemingly disparate activities, you found reflections of the same principles that guided your sword: timing, balance, flow, and above all, emptiness. Each stroke of the brush, each word that flowed from your pen echoed the harmony of opposites, the delicate balance between chaos and order that you had come to embody. As you continued to hone your skills, the world began to whisper your name in awe and fear. Some spoke of you with reverence, others with a mixture of admiration and trepidation. But you remained steadfast, driven by an insatiable curiosity and an unwavering commitment to self-mastery. The pursuit of excellence had become your North Star, guiding you ever onward toward the distant horizon of wisdom and enlightenment. At this point in your life, you are no mere swordsman or wandering philosopher. You have evolved into a rōnin philosopher, a true embodiment of the warrior spirit. Your life is a testament to the power of dedication and the beauty of an existence fully lived. The battles you fought and the wisdom you gained are interwoven into the fabric of your being. You are a living legend, a beacon of enlightenment amidst the darkness of ignorance. And as long as the human spirit yearns for excellence, your story will continue to inspire. Now it's your turn. How has your journey of self-discovery and mastery shaped you? What paths of self-mastery are you currently walking down? With maturity came the need to record your thoughts. In your later years, you withdrew into solitude, carrying with you ink, brush, and paper. From this retreat would come your most enduring legacy, the Book of Five Rings. This was not a book meant for scholars, nor for poets. It was a guide for warriors, a distillation of everything you had learned from a lifetime of duels, battles, and reflection. You divided the teachings into 5 elements: earth, water, fire, wind, and void, Each element represented a different aspect of strategy. Earth taught the importance of foundation firmness, stability, and grounding. Water taught adaptability like a river. The warrior must flow around obstacles. Fire represented direct combat, the intensity of battle, the ferocity of engagement. Wind analyzed the styles of other schools, teaching awareness of the strengths and weaknesses of rivals. And void spoke of the ultimate principle, the emptiness that transcends all technique, where the mind is free from distraction and action arises naturally. What made your teachings remarkable was their simplicity and universality. Though you wrote for warriors, your words applied to all aspects of life. Farmers, merchants, and leaders could all find wisdom in the balance of timing, rhythm, and perception. By putting brush to paper, you ensured that your knowledge would outlive your body. Even as your hand grew weary, the spirit within your words remained sharp, like a blade honed by countless battles. You had become more than a duelist. You had become a teacher of life itself. Now let us hear your words, O Sensei, and learn from the depths of your wisdom. Earth teaches firmness, stability, unyielding strength. Without a solid foundation, no warrior can stand. Be like the mountain that endures the test of time, immovable, steadfast, and true. A tree that lacks deep roots will wither and fall, but the one rooted in the earth will flourish through any storm. As water nourishes the fields, so too does the earth sustain the warrior's way. When you plant the seed of your purpose deep within you, nothing can shake your resolve. Stand firm in your beliefs, unwavering in your actions. The essence of strength lies not in brute force, but in resilience, endurance, and an unbreakable spirit. Only when you are grounded in this truth can you face any challenge and emerge victorious. Water teaches adaptability. Like a river that finds its path to the sea, a warrior must flow around obstacles, ever changing, ever adapting. Rigid and unyielding, even the mightiest oak can be brought low by the relentless force of water. For it is not strength that conquers all, but persistence that wears down resistance. Be like water, my student, and take on the shape of whatever situation you encounter. When faced with adversity, bend but do not break. For it is in yielding that you will find your strength renewed. Just as the clouds gather and release their waters upon the thirsty land, so too must you release your potential at the right moment. Timing is everything. With patience and precision, you will navigate the twists and turns of life's journey and emerge triumphant. Fire teaches intensity, the heart of the warrior's way. It is in direct combat that skills are tested and spirits are tempered. Just as fire refines metal, so too are you forged in the crucible of challenges. Seek the heat of the battle, my student, and let your spirit blaze with the intensity of purpose. When all is at stake, summon the flames of courage and determination. It is in these moments of high stakes that the true measure of your strength is revealed. Like a wildfire, consume all distractions and focus on what truly matters. Let your actions be swift and decisive as the spark that ignites the kindling and sets the world ablaze. Remember, it is in the dance of fire that the warrior finds their true rhythm. Wind teaches awareness, the keen observation of nature and the world around you. Just as wind carries the scent of distant flowers, so too must you be attuned to the subtle signs that reveal the intentions of others. A warrior's wisdom is not just in their own strength, but in their understanding of their surroundings and their opponents. Analyze the styles of other schools, for they may hold secrets that can enhance your own. Be like the wind, my student, and be everywhere at once, observing, adapting, and strategizing. Notice the patterns of nature, the rise and fall of tides, the flight of birds, the rustling of leaves. All these are signs and symbols of the natural order. By understanding these rhythms, you will gain insight into the actions of your rivals. For every leaf that falls, every gust of wind whispers secrets to those who know how to listen. So sharpen your senses and expand your awareness. You never know when a crucial piece of information might come in handy. Remember, it is in the stillness of observation that the true essence of things is revealed. And finally, void, the absence of self, the emptiness that lies at the heart of all being. It is here that the warrior finds their true power. To let go of attachment, of ego, and of preconceptions. In this emptiness, there are no longer any barriers between you and your actions. You become one with the universe, your spirit soaring like a bird above the confines of form and limitation. Be still, my student, and let the noise of the world fade away. Close your eyes and see beyond the illusions of sense perception. In this void, you will discover the source of creativity and true freedom. It is here that you will find the answer to the ultimate question, the meaning of life itself. For in this state of non-duality, all things are possible. All limitations dissolve, and you are left with nothing but the pure potential of existence. Here, thoughts arise naturally, unbidden, and free. The mind is a mirror reflecting the infinite wisdom of the universe. Trust in this process and let your intuition guide you. For it is in the void that we truly discover who we are meant to be. Miyamoto Musashi. When I say your name, what do you see? A ferocious swordsman, a brutal warrior who cut down his enemies without hesitation? That's how most people remember you. And it's true, you were that. But there's more to your story than just your duels and your strategies. There's a side of you that time has nearly erased. A side that most people don't know about, and it's my favorite part of your story. You weren't just a warrior and a philosopher, you were also an artist. You painted ink landscapes, carved wooden sculptures, and wrote poems that spoke of a deep inner stillness. Your art was not delicate or ornamental. It carried the same raw strength that your swordsmanship did. Each stroke of the brush was like a strike of the blade, decisive, unhesitant, clear. You didn't see painting and fighting as separate skills. They were both expressions of the same principle, harmony of mind and body. In your later years, you became a kind of sage, a man who had looked into the depths of violence and emerged with a deeper understanding of himself and the world. Your art from this period reflects a kind of Zen simplicity, a quiet intensity that draws the viewer in. One of your most famous works is a simple ink painting of a bird, sitting calmly yet ready to take flight. There's a story about this painting that I love. Apparently, when one of your students showed it to you, he asked, "What does this bird represent?" And you replied, "That bird is me." In that moment, he understood that the calm surface of the painting hid a depth of feeling and a well of potential energy just beneath the skin, much like yourself. Because to those who knew you in your later years, you were not just the feudal duelist who once cut down men without hesitation. You were a sage, a craftsman, a man who sought truth in every form. Your art wasn't just about capturing the essence of a bird or a mountain. It was about expressing the harmony between opposites, the balance of forces that make life what it is. You found this balance not only in the natural world, but also in the way you fought. Your sword style, the Knight in Ichi-Ryu, was all about using two swords in perfect harmony, each move fluid, yet every strike decisive. You didn't just swing your swords wildly. Every movement had a purpose, every block was an answer to an unspoken question. It was like a dance, a conversation between swords and the one who held them. But what fascinates me most about your story, Miyamoto Musashi, is how this balance manifested in your personality. Beneath the rough exterior, the scars, and the endless duels, you carried within you an appreciation for beauty. You saw balance not only in combat, but in nature, in the curve of a mountain, the silence of a temple, the brush of wind across grass. This wasn't just a philosophical idea for you. It was something you experienced deeply. There are stories about you that show this side of you, like the time you visited the Tendaiji temple after a fierce battle. You were covered in blood and dirt, but when you took off your armor, they found a beautiful white undergarment. It was pure and untouched by the violence you had just been a part of. It symbolized the inner peace you had found amidst the chaos of war. Or the time you sat down to draw the faces of two monks, one young and full of vigor, the other old and serene. The contrast was so clear that everyone who saw your sketch understood the fleeting nature of life and the importance of finding stillness in the end. So today, on this episode of The School of Life, we celebrate the duality of your being, the balance of opposites that made you who you were. We look at the ferocious warrior, yes, but also at the gentle artist, the seeker of beauty in the midst of violence, the one who found harmony even in the clash of swords. In 1645, your long journey drew to its end. You withdrew to a cave called Rigando, where you lived in solitude, writing and meditating. Your body had grown old, worn by countless battles and travels, yet your spirit remained sharp. In that cave you completed the Book of Five Rings, leaving behind your final gift to the world. Not long after, you passed away in peace. For a man who had lived by the sword, your end was calm, as if you had finally laid down all burdens. Your legacy lived on not only in the countless stories of your duels but also in your philosophy. To this day, people study your writings not merely as a guide to combat, but as a path to discipline, focus, and understanding of life itself. You had begun as a wild child, unruly and fierce. You became a duelist feared across the land, a philosopher respected by all, and an artist who found beauty in simplicity. But perhaps your greatest lesson was this: true mastery is not in defeating others but in defeating oneself. And so your life as Miyamoto Musashi, both legend and man, continues to echo through history not as a tale of endless violence, but as a reminder that the way of the sword is also the way of the spirit. Miyamoto Musashi, the name echoes through history, a legend whispered in the rustling of bamboo leaves and the clash of steel. Born in 1584, his journey began not with a sword, but with mischief. As a young boy, you were known more for causing trouble than honing your skills. Discipline was a distant thought. Fighting, however, was as natural to you as breathing. When you challenged a bully twice your age to a knife duel, you proved it. At 14, you defeated a fearsome opponent. By 20, tales of your swordsmanship spread far and wide. But victories weren't everything. Defeats left scars that fueled your spirit. Each loss was a lesson, each wound a reminder of what you had to improve. Traveling across Japan, you tested your skills against anyone who dared cross your path, compiling a record of over 60 duels, 22 deaths, and only 1 defeat. Battles forged your body and mind, tempered your spirit, turning you into the legendary duelist known as the One-Eyed Dragon. Yet even in the heat of battle, you found moments of clarity. After a grueling fight against Sasaki Kojirō, you realized the value of strategy and adaptation. Lessons that led you to pen the Book of Five Rings, a military treatise as timeless as the principles it espouses. It's a testament to your strategic brilliance, a guide for warriors and a mirror for the soul. But your story doesn't end at the battlefield. You sought solace in art, finding balance in the chaos of your life. In calligraphy, you discovered tranquility. With a brush in hand, you could express what words couldn't, capturing the essence of movement and stillness. Your art became a dialogue with the cosmos, each stroke a testament to your unwavering focus. Then came the most profound encounter, not with a sword or a brush, but with yourself. Facing your own mortality, you retreated to a cave, leaving behind the trappings of your legendary life. There, stripped of all distractions, you confronted the ultimate challenge, conquering not an external enemy, but the demons within. In the quiet of that cave, you found enlightenment, proving that true mastery comes not from brute force, but from conquering oneself. Your final masterpiece, the Book of Five Rings, wasn't just a military manual, it was a reflection of your journey, a testament to your resilience. You explored the uncharted territories of your soul, emerging with a deeper understanding of strategy, tactics, and the human condition. In 1645, at the age of 61, your journey ended peacefully in that very cave. Your body, a vessel that had endured countless battles, finally found rest. Your spirit, however, continues to inspire, urging us to confront not only the battles outside, but the ones within. The way of the sword is not just about clashing steel, it's about the relentless pursuit of self-mastery. As we delve into the wisdom contained in the Book of Five Rings, let us remember that every page is illuminated by the fiery spirit of a man who lived life on his own terms. Miyamoto Musashi, the legend, may have rested, but his spirit lives on, urging us to find our own paths to enlightenment through the art of war. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please leave a like and subscribe. See you in the next one.